This is the MexiCali Biennial Art Actions and Exchanges since 2006. It's co-published by our partners, the Cheech Marin Center for Chicano Art Culture and the Riverside Art Museum. It's edited by myself and Rosalía Romero, and it chronicles the last 20 years of art exhibitions, actions, and exchanges throughout the Californias, both North and South. It's broken up into several sections. Today we're going to talk about the essays. In Already Made, Lillard-Gomez and Luis G. Hernandez trace the MexiCali Biennial back to the border itself. We look at it not as a fixed line, but as a dynamic place, a hybrid space, shaped by movement, labor, and exchange. Reimagining both the biennial and the border as a ready-made, we look to transform systems into platforms for artistic intervention and institutional critique. In Can Art Be Infrastructure for Making Mi Casa Su Casa by J.V. Decemirale, situates the MexiCali Biennial within a longer history of artists of color building their own cultural infrastructure in response to exclusion and institutional neglect. Tracing struggles over visibility, space, and access in Los Angeles and beyond, the essay frames the biennial as a part of a broader movement to reclaim art as a tool for community formation and survival. What emerges is a vision of art not just as representation, but as infrastructure itself, an evolving collective system shaped by artists working across borders, economies, and lived realities. In the MexiCali Biennial and the Politics of Poetics of Visual Arts in Baja California, Alejandro Espinoza Galindo offers an art historical account of the shifting visual language in the borderlands, tracing a move from traditional muralism to experimental conceptual practices. The essay positions the MexiCali Biennial as a catalyst in redefining how art is made, understood, and historicized in the region. What emerges is a form of transborder conceptualism, one that resists dominant narratives of global art and instead generates its own myth, meaning, and aesthetic frameworks rooted in the lived realities of Baja California. In the essay, The Wall and Border Art, Scenes from Mexicali, Calexico, Rosalía Romero examines how artists have transformed the border wall from a physical barrier into a site of conceptual and performative experimentation. Focusing on MexiCali Biennial's projects staged directly on the wall, the essay reveals how artists have used sound, movement, and intervention to challenge its architecture and expanding system of surveillance that surrounds it. What emerges is a reimagining of the border not as a fixed divide, but as a dynamic space where artistic action disrupts and reconfigures visible and invisible structures of control. In creating from a place of unbelonging, the MexiCali Biennial and art at the edges of empire, Emmanuel Ortega challenges familiar ideas of the border as a fixed, purely liminal space. Reframing it as an ever-shifting frontier shaped by empire, the essay introduces the concept of unbelonging as a critical position for artistic production, one that resists imposed identities and territorial boundaries. Through works from the MexiCali Biennial, Ortega reveals how artists create this unstable ground, transforming the border into a site of inquiry, disruption, and new forms of imagining beyond the constraints of belonging. In Redelineación, Cross-Border Text Image Environments in the MexiCali Biennial, Sara Carroll explores how the biennial dissolves boundaries between language, image, and place. Through works that weave text, performance, and material practice, the essay reveals a cross-border aesthetic rooted in translanguaging and everyday experience. These projects do more than represent the border, they actively redraw it, transforming lines of division into dynamic systems of connection, memory, and resistance. What emerges is a critical regionalism where art operates across media, languages, and lived realities to unsettled fixed ways of seeing and knowing.